Hi everyone, my name's Barbara Dropshow. I'm the founder of Panda Cat Players. I really hope you can all see me okay. So we had a really fun live chat session to talk about the season and some future projects this morning, and unfortunately the sound was terrible. I forget sometimes living in the city, especially under the flight path of airplanes, how bad the sound can be. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you're out there, I'll make sure that the people who tuned in earlier and couldn't hear know that I'm remaking the video. It was really important to me to have some other members of Panda Cat there because, you know, a big part of Panda Cat Players is friendship, and so I'm bummed that I don't have Jeremiah and Anna Velzo with me, since they are such good friends of mine. But I promise you there was lots of witty banter and we had a great time. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about sort of how we came to be a group, if you're interested, a little bit about the particular members, how we know each other, and some future projects on the horizon. So first off, I'm sure many of you have heard this backstory before, but the name Panda Cat, it's no accident that it sounds like the word pandemic. I don't like the word pandemic. I got tired of hearing it. It completely uprooted my life for a while. And so I decided to just think of pandas instead. And as far as the word cat, I am definitely a cat lady. Two of my cats are running around outside right now. And a lot of my friends also are cat ladies. So cat just seemed like a natural ending to the name Panda Cat. It's a group of friends who we all play together in lots of different organizations, and I'll get to that in a minute. So one of the things that I started the conversation, the inaudible conversation earlier today with, was asking Anna and Jeremiah how they reacted to everything suddenly shutting down. And it sounded to me like we all had kind of a similar reaction, where it was the busiest time of the season for musicians, and we had so many exciting things on the horizon, and then everything suddenly stopped, and how we all had different coping mechanisms. I think we all, you know, those of us who teach, we dove into our teaching and tried to be the best teachers we could be. And I did the same thing, but then I started to realize that as much as I was committing myself to this teaching, that without a playing project, without the joy of performing clarinet and communicating and connecting with my instrument, I really felt like it was starting to impact my ability to teach my students. I was very, very grateful that I had this work to fall back on. It would have been so much harder if I hadn't had that, and I'm sure many of my colleagues feel the same way. But I needed to play. I'm a busybody, and you know, I'm one of those people, give me 2 weeks and I'll put a new floor in my studio. In fact, that's what I did in January of this year, was rip out all the carpet and put a new floor in. And you know, you could say, oh, well, you have all this time to practice, but it's hard to practice if you don't have a project. So we first started recording. A couple of friends of mine were really helpful with that. Patrick Raker, the other clarinetist, was one of the first people who collaborated with me, so thank you, Patrick, for doing that. And the joy that I felt the first time I heard our two parts together, and then our bassoonist Carl Raza recorded a track. So we definitely started with a lot of online recording. Kind of passed that around. We've gotten a little bit more advanced with that. We're trying to do things that change tempo. I just picked a really difficult project for us. It's a 10-minute serenade of, I think, 13 parts, with me conducting really poorly. So we'll see how that goes. We still have 3 more parts to record in that. But it's definitely been a really fun season, and the funnest part, I think, for all of us, I asked Anna and Jeremiah this morning their favorite part of playing in Panda Cat this season. And for both of them, it had to do with playing live, either that first live rehearsal that we did at Patrick's house, or the first live rehearsal that we did at Todd's house. For me, my favorite moment was completing the Dvorak Serenade. It was a special bonus that John Floater made that great video, but the idea that we had recorded the first 3 movements in a cappella online, and then we were actually able to perform that final movement, was a really beautiful thing. So I definitely appreciate that. And yeah, it was just a lot of good friends, a lot of good players, a lot of good people, But the one thing that really brought our ability to play live concerts together, the thing that made that happen was my student Todd Weiner and his wife Paula Jacoby. It was so kind of them to offer their property to us to, you know, really spread the word in their neighborhood about what we're doing. And I feel like I have friends I've never even met and they're neighbors of Todd's. So thank you so much for all the support that you've given us. In fact, if you'll bear with me for a moment, I'm really humbled by all the support that we've gotten. And even just since making the video that didn't work earlier today, one of my neighbors dropped a check in my mailbox because she overheard us talking, and she had wanted to see the concert online. You know, I think my dad just made a donation this morning. So the support has really been wonderful. I mean, we're not doing it for the money, but we certainly can do more interesting and more creative things when we do have that support. So if you'll bear with me, I think a lot of times, and I certainly felt this way when all the orchestras shut down, I worried that the world didn't care about live music for a while. And I know it sounds like I'm throwing a pity party for myself, but I think, you know, when you go from the thing that you love most happening all the time to not happening anymore, and you feel like nobody's really talking about it, and if you bring it up, you know, you're being selfish, or, you know, you're being self-indulgent, it can make you feel really, really bad. And if there's one thing that, you know, Todd helping us put on the live stream concerts has showed us, it's that a lot more people care about connecting through live music than I would have thought. And I think that there's some people maybe who didn't know how much they cared about live music, and here they are exposed to it, and they get invested in it and they care more about it. And so I'm actually glad in a way that today's video didn't work earlier, because I think I left some people off the list, and it was just, I got teary writing the names down again because I had lost this morning's list. So I'm just going to read really quickly. Concert number 1, these are the people who supported us. Todd Weiner, Mike Drapshow, Lori Matten, Ted Snyder, Karen Goodgold, Heather Harbison, Kristen Scheifus, Catherine Pirtle, Eliza Bangert, Lisa Garland, Jean Bishop, Andrea Diorio, Becky Madison, Emily Marlowe, Harold I. Steinberg, Carl Schimmel. For concert number 2, we had Todd Weiner, Ann Roberts, Susan Frankel, Warren Weisberg, Karen Goodgold, Kathleen Carter, David Rubin, Anne Marie Hill, Amy Korenstein, Mike Drapshow, Heather Harbison, Betsy Sperling, Kathy Rundell, Jing Bai, Richard Tremorello, Melanie Saylor, Pam Nogel, Frank Weichert, Sharon Graff, Annie Schmidt, Marcia Korenstein, Richard Millward, Mary Beth Accardi Niziol, Cheryl Hack, Felicia Fleming, Kim Yeager, John Floater, Stephen Reich, Mark Winston, Adele Hendricks. And for concert number 3, which we actually were unable to play today, and we feel terrible that it was too cold for us to play, and we're so sorry. I'd much rather be playing for you right now than making a video. Our contributors were Todd Weiner, Mary Buscanis-Jones, Julia Richter, Lisa Garland, Madeline Capistran, Karen Goodgold, Mike Drapshow, Walter Carlson, Christina Bichu, Kathy Rundell, Sarah Harding, Melanie Saylor, Scott D. Pollock, Troy Hennekoff, Heather Harbison, Tom Snyder, Mark Landau, Lillian Tang, and my neighbor Tilly Wilhoit. So thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate it. And I want to let you know that we actually have a lot of plans for the future. In addition to rescheduling the concert that we were going to do today, we'll do that in the spring and most likely on the same block. We are also planning to try to do something over the course of the winter. So if we can find, we're all contacting our various spaces. Jeremiah, our horn player, was nice enough to make a form that we can fill out to see what our comfort level is with coronavirus and how much distancing we all need. So anyway, we're all trying really hard to find some kind of really large indoor space so that we can do live streams and still reach people, because obviously it's getting too late in the year to rely on the weather, and even though today shouldn't have been too late, you know, every now and then you get a cold snap, which is what this week has been. So we're really, really excited about that. And we have some specific concerts that we've planned for next spring as well. The conductor of the Evanston Symphony, Lawrence Eckerling, has approached Todd and myself, and he's interested in possibly doing a Stravinsky concert with us. So we would actually have a conductor, and we would do the Stravinsky Octet. I've started contacting musicians about that, and the Soldier's Tale, and possibly another piece. We're also looking at doing all kinds of smaller pieces, since we're going to be looking at indoors, Prokofiev quintet. So there definitely are a lot of dreamy pieces on the horizon. One of the bigger concerts that I'm hoping we can do outdoors is a concert of Strauss serenades. So one is the serenade that we're recording in a cappella right now, which is a beautiful, about 10-minute work. And then he also wrote a longer suite, and maybe we would put the Gounod Petite Symphony on that concert. So we have all kinds of ideas. The bottom line is we want to do as much as we can. The biggest concern for me when things started shutting down is I worried that if I didn't have a project, what was I going to do? And I also worried that my musician friends might be feeling the same way. And so naturally, when it was time to contact musicians, I contacted people who I think are fantastic players, but also who happen to be my friends, people who I wanted to offer opportunities to. And I'm certainly grateful for the help that I've gotten in being able to offer those opportunities to people. So thank you so much. One other thing that we talked about today, it's so much more fun when Anna and Jeremiah are here, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of background about how we know each other. Jeremiah is in my quintet Ataka. We've been together, you know, since we were babies. Like, I think it's been like 20 years now or something, maybe even more. People often ask, how did you guys meet? You know, how did you form your group? Well, I basically just asked a lot of my favorite players. I had a couple pieces in mind. My first instinct was to try to recreate the playing experiences that I was missing out on. So my first thought was, oh, we'll just do reductions of orchestral pieces. I played principal clarinet in the Rockford Symphony this past season, and when it was cut short on at the beginning of March, we were supposed to do Beethoven 2, so I wanted to do Beethoven 2, and the heartbreaking thing was Prokofiev 5, which I've always wanted to play, so that just didn't happen. It would have been way too hard to do a recording of that. So after I started thinking about arrangements of things, I thought, well, why are we doing arrangements? There are all these great, slightly bigger chamber music pieces, octets, and things like the Dvorak Serenade, which is one of the first things that the very first live stream that we did. So anyway, we started moving more toward pieces that were actually written for the ensemble members that we have. So Jeremiah and I know each other from grad school, and we were in Civic together, and we worked in the CSO ticket office together. And then when it came time to replace the clarinetist in his quintet, he asked me to audition, and I worked really hard, and I've been in quintet with him ever since. I'm loving every minute of it. We actually have a class for quintet starting in about 10 minutes, so I should wrap this up. But anyway, so I know him that way. Anna and I have been gigging together for a really long time. She's a fellow cat lady. She and Carl and I, Carl the principal bassoonist, make up what we call the Cat Lady Carpool. The three of us play Nutcracker together every Thanksgiving, and we really like our cats. We send pictures of our cats to each other, what can I say? And Carl and Josh Fleming, Carl Raza and Josh Fleming, the bassoonists, and Panda Cat, they were the bassoon section, and still are, of the Rockford Symphony. So I really enjoyed playing with them this past season, and it was just a no-brainer when it came time to find bassoonists I wanted to work with. Let's see, so I covered Jeremiah. Matt Oliphant has been a friend of mine for a long time. He lives in my neighborhood. I think he's just an awesome player. He's a friend of mine, and he was naturally my first choice, in addition to Jeremiah. And let's see, who am I leaving out? I haven't talked about strings yet. So Eric and I have been friends for a long time. He was one of the first people to collaborate with me, Eric Pidleski, our violinist. Sarah Sitzer, the cellist in our group. She's actually the one who hires the Cat Lady Carpool to do Nutcracker. And who am I leaving out? Oh, John Floater's been really, really helpful. He was kind of a late addition to our group, but He's a fabulous player, and he's also really handy at video editing, which is something I wish I were handy at. I didn't go to school for any of this, and I know John didn't either, but he's way better at it than I am. And so he's made some really cool video effect things of the things that we're going to do. And I think he may even make a video of our concert, our baby concert that we're doing this Friday at 11 a.m. Let's see, Victor Sotelo. I just met Victor. He's playing cello at 11 a.m. and he was going to play cello on the concert today that was canceled for cold. But he seems like a great guy, and he's a great player, and he's willing to do West Side Story with us. So thank you for that, Victor. And, oh, I really hope I'm not leaving any. Oh, Andy Nogle. Sorry, Andy. Andy Nogle has been a friend of mine for a long time. I've carpooled with him. He's a fabulous player. He's just a really fun, hilarious person. And he was naturally my choice along with Anna, and I'm so glad that he wanted to do it. If I am leaving anyone out, I'm really sorry. It's been a very hard day of trying to video edit unsuccessfully, so please forgive me if I left you out. I hope I covered everything that we covered in our far more charming, although impossible to hear, conversation from earlier today. Really, I just wanted a chance to connect with you since we didn't end up connecting through our concert today. And it's really, really great repertoire that we had on deck for today. So we will do it, just not for several months. And we're just gonna try to get through this time. Thank you so much for being with us. And I appreciate all that you've done. Bye.